In a heated Thursday night meeting, a Southern California school district voted in favor of a controversial policy requiring staff to notify parents if their children want to use a different pronoun or be called by a different name. Now, the state superintendent was at the meeting and had to be escorted out by security as tempers flared. Tony Thurmond urging a school board to reject the policy. Tonight, our Becca Habegger is hearing from Thurmond and a state lawmaker who wants to expand this rule to all schools in the state.
We're going to take a 5-minute break.
Emotions ran high in this debate over parental rights versus the privacy and safety of LGBTQ plus students.
We're going to reconvene. Everybody sit down.
It played out Thursday night at the Chino Valley Unified School District Board meeting in Southern California's San Bernardino County, part of a broader conversation happening throughout the state. Board members ultimately voted in favor of this new parental notification policy. It requires teachers, counselors, and staff to notify a student's parents within 3 days of learning the student wants to be treated as a gender other than the sex they were assigned at birth. That includes asking to go by a different name or pronouns, using a different restroom, or join a sports team that doesn't correspond with their sex assigned at birth.
Chino Valley is the first district that I have seen take this issue up.
California's Superintendent of Public Instruction, Tony Thurmond, spoke with ABC 10 the day after the meeting. He also spoke during the public comment section of the meeting, saying students in that district invited him to come weigh in.
I raised the example of a number of young people who are not in a home where it's safe for them to talk about their sexual orientation. I talked about the 40% of students who identify as LGBTQ plus who have thought about suicide, and that a policy like this creates a high risk for many students to find themselves having suicidal thoughts, and that from a humanitarian standpoint, we should be thinking about what's best for our kids. I talked about the need to balance what I believe in, that parents have rights, and balance that with the right of our students to be safe, and that we should engage in dialogue.
We anticipate several other districts to follow suit after Chino.
Republican Assemblymember Bill Iseli also spoke at the meeting and with ABC 10 the day after. He authored a parental notification bill that would require a similar practice at all California public school districts. It died in committee this session, but his office says he's committed to bringing it back next session.
I do think it's important for parents to be involved. When a child is experiencing gender dysphoria, it's a real issue, and it puts them at higher risk for mental health issues, including suicide. And we know through studies that the students do better with parental support. So to exclude parents, I think, is actually more harmful to the kids than positive.
A state attorney general, Rob Bonta, is also weighing in, saying in a letter to the district, by allowing for the disclosure of a student's gender identity without their consent, this policy would potentially put them in a harmful situation, saying he will take action.
Yeah, and Becca, some people might be wondering, why is this a state issue? Shouldn't it really be handled at the local level?
Yeah, I asked that of both Thurmond and the Assembly member. They told me they agree that local control is best, but, ultimately the Assembly member Iseli says he wrote that bill in response to the Department of Education, which says students are allowed to keep their gender identity private from their parents. The Assemblyman says the bill is his way of pushing back. Now, as for the superintendent, he says he feels it's appropriate for the state to step in when school board policy is causing students to feel threatened and endangered.
All right, Becca, thank you so much. And I would also like to mention that I reached out to the San Joaquin Pride Center today. They say that what happened in Southern California is just a very nuanced situation. And oftentimes the voices of the community in question are entirely left out of the conversation.
No parent wants their child to keep secrets from them. It doesn't take into account the very real danger and threat of violence that a lot of our community members face on a very regular basis. This is violence that can happen within families.
If you have something to say about this, reach out to me and the team. You can text us, very easy, 916-321-3310.